I mean, as you have told, in the first quarter there have been $5.2 billion have investment. It's a major economic figure, but I would like to ask about microeconomics. There haven't been so much exits from the startup companies or any other companies, other sectors as well. Do you think also this is a problem for the other investors located in Turkey or outside of Turkey?
I mean,
most of the investments coming for probably energy.
Exactly. The investors which is coming, I mean, when you do a power plant, it will be operational minimum 30 years.
Yeah.
Or it's a solar plant, it will be 20 years. So they are not planning there long term, they want to stay there. So these are the investments we are looking at. But in the last slide, which I have shown, it was, I forgot to mention, if they can bring it, it is in the merger of acquisitions activity. Yes, just one slide before. Maybe it is on the right-hand side. You can see in 2011, 12, and in 2012, 16 exits has been done. These are mainly e-commerce. This is the total M&A activity, 260, and out of that, 10 exits has been done. So we started to see some exits on the e-commerce side. That's why I particularly drilled down those numbers to share. There is exits happening for sizable business. So it has to be sizable, really. I mean, I would like to add one more point. I mean, I'm also acting angel investor for the last 9-10 months after receiving this license. I'm not using the license actively, but I want to add one point. In Turkey, what we need is not the money. Money can be found. What we need is to help the people, mentor the people. You know, when I say mentor them, is help them sit down. I'm doing this today, you know, as a hobby, or sitting with down and then writing with down. I'm spending my couple of hours showing them how to write a business plan. And also I'm trying to making some phone calls so that they can meet some people, you know, open the doors for them. I think that is what we need to do for the startups to be achievable. The money part, I do agree. Now we sit down with BIC Angels, and I go through the other angel networks as well. I just did my first co-investment before coming here. So now we are spending small amounts of money, right? 20 there, 30 there, 40 there, and then after 1 year, we will spend almost $500 million money. So you will start to do exits, right? So that is the biggest question of the angels today, looking at, and how we will fill this gap. I mean, this is my imagination. What we need to bring in Turkey, and I think that is where, as investment agency, and basically this government needs to focus on. We are doing this for private equity, by the way. We are doing a lot of activity on private equity for large exits. That's why when I mentioned this education and health, maybe you heard about Acıbadem, Abraç Group, and then they exited to Kazana, and then we have seen Medical Park, Carlyle, and then they exited to another private equity. So the private equity growth capital has found Turkey very good for our SME market. But for startups, what we are missing is the early venture capitals. We need good quality early venture capitals who have links to large markets. Europe, there are some, but in US, even in Far East, in China and Japan, this is why we need to recruit them, bring them. We were not able to focus as investment agency before, such as when I come here for the first time 3 years ago, first time I joined, there was not enough startups to show these guys. Now, we are forming that ecosystem. I believe that now enough startups to happen because we don't have startups to show them. So if we have startups to show them, we will be able to recruit them. So I think next that we need to focus is to find these early venture capitals and bring them in Turkey to show our market so that these exits can be realized.
Yes, Kutlu.
And I think your agency is very useful in getting foreign direct investment into Turkey. I think the Turkish corporates also need to develop their muscles of working with startups, investing in startups and buying startups, both as business opportunities, as talent pools, So I think this is slowly happening. Corporate sponsors are starting to support ecosystems. I think we also need to see more of this happen to take Turkey to the next level. So I was happy to hear Kariyer.net is doing some things with startups. So I think we need to see more of this because the IPO market is difficult in general. In Turkey, it's, I think, maybe more difficult because the prices can go down. The Turkish market is quite volatile. So it's harder to expect a lot of Turkish tech IPOs, but the Turkish tech giants can start being more active, I think.
And maybe what else is missing is that we simply use the domestic investors. I mean, there is big money in Turkey, but where's the money going? Real estate. Just beton. This is one option. And the other one is put it on a, let's say, bank account and get 10% return, which is, of course, not bad. Why should you put your money into risky investments? And the third one is playing on the stock exchange with an average holding period of 3 hours or something like that. I mean, that there should be alternatives. So if the money would be put into productive investments like startups, it would be much more beneficial, but that requires a change of mindset. And that requires, I mean, therefore, for example, this angel investment law is quite important because people get attracted initially by the tax advantages, but there is something, they listen a little bit longer, so what's behind it, and they start to get interested in that. We need some success stories in this part as well for the angel investments, and pretty sure they will start to put some bigger tickets together for, let's say, domestic venture capital funds, maybe with international connections. We should not ask that much for foreign money flowing, and we should just make use of the domestic money, but that requires a change of mindset, I think.
Also, the questions in the audience is
Google, Facebook, even AT&T, right? These guys have entire corporate development departments that actually work with VCs and their portfolios to actually, so when Salesforce thinks, hey, we should get into this business, right? They don't basically think about hiring a bunch of people and building a product, like who can we acquire to get into this space? So it's basically a change of mindset, but kind of having spent some time in Turkey back a few years ago, I would have expected folks like Turkcell, Telecom, and other guys to actually look at mergers and acquisitions, to actually build certain organizations and products and stuff like that, which is actually the thing that feeds the ecosystem.
Can always do better themselves, they believe.
Right, but also I cannot blame them that much also, because a lot of the infrastructure that makes this possible in Silicon Valley does not exist in Turkey either, because you look at a lot of big companies, right? One of the main difference when a company gets acquired is that a lot of the employees and key executives have a lot of equity in the company, right? So when Facebook or Google acquires your company, your people don't just quit and go do something else because they actually have equity in your company and they actually have to work for Facebook for 2-3 years to actually earn that equity, right? So there's not option structures or grant structures in Turkey where you can actually kind of reward your employees to actually stick around in your company for 4 years even after an acquisition, so your company is actually worth something to the acquirer. So all this infrastructure is different, which is kind of also making it difficult. Yes, there's a cultural mindset, but also it's not easy for folks like Turkcell and Telecom to actually do this either.
Maybe just one more point. I think Turkcell invited Josh Lerner, who's the father of venture capital, and he said startup R&D is 2 to 3 times more effective than corporate R&D. But one thing is to hear it, another thing is to experience it. So I think the big corporates in Turkey are in the process of experiencing this, I think, or they will. They will see, hopefully, that some of the startups here will beat them in certain of their products. It's already happening. I think, I haven't seen this, but I heard on the walls of Citibank in the USA, it says we will not get PayPal again. So we need some Turkish corporates to get PayPal by Turkish startups, and then they will, oh, okay, now this next time we'll actually buy them out before this happens to us. So I think this is happening. I think, I know some startups did better than the corporate biz dev efforts of corporates in Turkey. I think we just have to accept this and start to evolve to the Turkish ecosystem 2.0, or maybe 3.0.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Ahim, actually. These angels in Istanbul, Turkey, so are these accredited investors? And how do you guys build the funds, and what's a typical investment in these small companies?
Thing is, structure is difficult, so we are not raising funds. I would dream of having at least a sidecar fund, but what we are doing actually is very complicated. We are having a service, so Big Angel Investments is a service organization. We are like a dating organization. We bring together the investors with the startups, then the investors all together invest together into the startup, which is an AG. It's a limited company in Turkey. So every single angel investor becomes an individual investor. They are sharing the same rights. It's a special share class. Ticket size, I mean, we require at least, it's still not outstanding, but something like 25,000 lira, which is equivalent to, let's say, $12,000, something in that range. It can go up. Let's say the angel investment size is between, let's say, total investment of the group is between maybe 200,000 lira, 500,000 lira, maximum 1 million Turkish lira. If I would like to bring together $1 million, I need to syndicate maybe with another network or with others. So the individual ticket size, if you're not a super angel, and there are not so many in Turkey, is rather small. But it's a very complicated structure. For example, we have established something like a carry for the lead investor, which ends up with being a direct contract between the lead investor and all other investors. So it's not easy, it's not user-friendly as a legal framework, but it works.
Clearly, those are like seed investments here, right? I mean, you guys need the medium investments. That's, I guess, what's lacking for these companies to continue and survive, right? Yeah.
We are talking to funds, professional funds. I mean, we lack the experience as well on that side, but that we say at least what we can do, look, guys, you put together a seed fund.
Yes.
We make the investments, you co-invest with us, you are just you're a sidecar fund, so we can just add the same amount. If after personal evaluation maybe, we manage everything, we share the carry, we share the management fee, and then at least we have bigger ticket size and we have more traction.
I mean, I'm trying to help the young companies in Turkey as well, and when I started a company here, I received the 3 million as a seed investment at the time, right? I mean, but that's not easy to do, I guess. I mean, that was 10 years ago, right? I mean, even today, I think it's not possible, right?
It's a long way to go.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Any questions? So, last words probably, and summing up the panel to 7 o'clock, and we will have food and drink in the terrace. So, to sum up the panel, what should be the university's role, Kutlu, in Turkey to make efficient ecosystem? Because universities weren't active in last 10 years, but very active in the last 3 years probably. And you are in the side of university now. Yeah. You know all the ways of and faces of ecosystem.
Well, I think. Well, I will agree with Sina in this, that the university has to do a job of switching the young Turkish people's mind. I think at Sabancı University, I teach a class there as well. I see most of the kids come, and even in their early years, they've already fixated on something they need to do, and they have anxiety on that they need to graduate shortly and then start a career with a big name and then have a certain kind of. So I think it's very fixated, their definition of success, and I think it's highly socially fabricated. So I think universities need to change the mindsets of the incoming classes. It's not something easy to do. I would argue our education system has to change from middle class and middle school and high school. I don't know how feasible that is, but I think that really has to change to really have a major change in our ecosystem. But the universities basically we have to do some rewiring. And I think you can see a startup as in 2 phases. One is discovery of a worthwhile endeavor. And then, so there's a lot, I think the talent is very good, but the ideas are quite raw. And then, so people come and they say, well, I have this idea, and I tell them, well, this, have done it before or are doing it. Do you know about them? They say, no. Well, so they have to learn to do the market research, if the idea is feasible, if it's worth doing. And then after that, doing becomes the next part. So I think universities have to do that early phase of teaching young entrepreneurs, of vetting ideas, of waiting for the right opportunity, and then when they see the right opportunity, then going for it.
Thank you for all being at the panel. I mean, it was great to argue lots of thoughts about the issues that we face in Turkey and also benchmark it here. Thank you. Also, thank you for all being with us. We'll go with the networking and food and drink at the terrace now, and hope to see you probably, I would like to say not next year, but earlier than next year, because we would like to be here more often in order to, as in the previous sessions and talks, we want to bridge the Turkish internet ecosystem to Silicon Valley here more often, and also probably have pitching sessions with successful entrepreneurs next meeting. So thank you for all being today with us, and hope to network after this panel.
Burak, can I make one announcement? Yeah. So we brought 5 entrepreneurs here, and next Wednesday we have also a small kind of a showcase and event in Sunnyvale. So if any of you are interested, just find me after this, and you're invited to that as well.
Very quickly, you see, there are the pitches now. So thank you again, and hope to see you network.